I'm still trying to decide. Like, I only have so much storage. So I figure what I'll do is I'll put the recordings up for about a month, it seems, at any given time. And then after that, I'll just pull them down. But after they're pulled down, they're still available on YouTube. Everything will still be on YouTube. If you ever are like, oh, I want to go back and watch something here. But most of it should just be anything within the last week or two. And then the courses and the archived stuff on Circle, I think. But I guess we'll see. All right. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Welcome out on both platforms. Whether you're coming from Circle or coming from Discord, not much longer. I'm going to help Bob this week, and we're going to be making the full migration. So if you can be looking to log into the Circle platform. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. Disclaimers. Remember that this is for education and illustrative purposes only. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. We don't give advice or recommendations. Our agenda. Let's mark a posture. So our post-election rally faded. Are we scared? Are we optimistic? In Circle, but can't hear anything, Gray Lynn said. Yeah, check your settings and see if it's just not connected, because it might be your first time in. You might have to just make sure that the audio settings are dialed in correctly. And you're welcome to just sit in the Discord while I'm going to keep broadcasting from that. So you're welcome to stay there because it works until you get that audio setting dialed in. We will look at the economic calendar. We will look at sectors. Oh, I forgot to get the watch list updated. That will happen today. I will get all the new stocks in the watch list today. I will post that. An early week opportunity list. I think we're going to have a big list of candidates. That's my estimation for today. Let's see if I'm right. And then trading plan section of the week. We've only got 2 to go. And then we'll just kind of take the rest of the year and talk about New Year's trading resolutions. What are we all going to do to really become better traders in 2025? We're on analytics. Analytics and record keeping go hand in hand. You can't analyze if you don't have records. So if you haven't done your record keeping, you're still on record keeping. If you've started to get your record keeping in place, you're diligent, you have good records, then it's going to produce even better analytics automatically. If you use the logs that we have, those are readily available for you to download. I've been actually including those downloads on recording posts, the summaries, where you can just be like, oh, I can just grab it from here too. Yes. Making it as easy as possible. All right, let's get to it. Where were we? Where are we going? Let me just make sure I know everybody who's here. Great crew. Great crew over on the Circle side. Bob, I'm going to make sure we get you. We're going to get you. I'm not sharing my screen. Bob's like, share your screen first and foremost. I will. I got you. Okay. Maybe you and I need to schedule a chat, or at least I'll help schedule a chat with the admin who can help you to get this set up. And we'll get you going. All right. Let's go. Where are we? Let me getting this all set up. Last week we had a big jump after the election. 1.5 points. Which we believe could be kicking us into a new and better market post-election. I'm all for it. Let's see, though, because as we said, what happened? Well, that was Sunday. yeah, everything looked great. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So how bad is this relative to our posture? Some new people might be like, yeah, I'm curious. What is this going to do? Is this going to mean we're bearish now? Are we going to be neutral now? I think we're going to be absolutely, utterly still bullish now. But let's go through it. Okay, first and foremost, and again, if you are new and you are on, it's never been easier. This is the easiest it's ever been. Because of all the different education videos we have, a good number of them are like 45 minutes to an hour long. And the market posture videos are not. They're like 12 to 15 minutes. So there are 6 components. We have a video for each component. Those videos are 12 to 15 minutes, just walking you through what's the component, what are we trying to understand when we analyze it, what are the implications, and that should help really get you up to speed with the group on what we do on Sundays. Okay, so long-term trend, 2 points. Looking at a 3-year weekly chart on the S&P, on the SPY. Let me just get my charts oriented. Okay. And apologies. I'm very congested. My daughter came home last weekend and she brought whatever illness was going around her school to me. And now I'm suffering from it. Okay. Long-term trend. We last week we popped back up into. This week we got right back. Now we're sitting on this. So I've had, and I think people are like, well, do I move it back to this green line? I'm not. The reason I dropped my score wasn't, back here it was. Here we dropped it. Here we didn't. Here we did. Why? Back here we dropped it because that was a pretty nasty break. It did recover a good amount of it quickly. But what's happening is we got close to the top, nowhere near the top, nowhere near the top. Yeah, we got like to this halfway point, but again, this can't be representative of our trend if we're never getting near the high. It just can't be. So what do? Well, this green trend is representative of what we were. The one prior to that was this red one. Let me get my drawing tools. You know what, Grayland? She's come and gone. She's already back at school. So I won't see them until Thanksgiving. But soon enough. Soon enough. Okay, let's get... why can't I draw this? Okay, hold on. I thought I had my pen situation solved, but maybe not. Let's just start it and start it again. Stop it and start it again. Okay. There it is. There's my chart. So back in this area here, confirmed here, is when we moved our score. This was a 1.25. That was our score back there. Right? And so when we had this transition, we then transitioned to a 1.5. So that kind of gives you a sense of like the difference. The thing for me right now is I feel like it's maybe more, if I were to draw this line right here across these tops, does it look more like this slope or more like this slope? And to me, it looks like the red one. So that's why I've moved my score back to 1.25. Right? it's not that bad. It's not like, oh, things are, it's just like, hey, it's just slowed down a little bit. We didn't maintain that green trend. We're moving into something. Maybe it moves back. We'll see. And if it does, we'll move our score again. That's my thought process. So I'm not changing. That's still the score for me. 1.25. Short term. What was interesting was we dropped it, and this actually stayed the same. So does what happens to the short term now? So let's go back in and look at that. We already were at this higher high last week. We have a higher high. Do we have a higher low? Not yet. It's coming down. It's very well positioned for a higher low, right? Anything in here, and we could even give it a little bit more than that. I'm going to give that a dotted line. Anything in there, if it gets too close, I mean, you can see where the 50-day moving average is. Anything that gets in that range, that's a higher low. If it comes down and bounces, this low is higher than this low. The trend is intact. And then the question is, what's the angle? How do we measure that, right? Well, for me right now, we have that. I can look at right here and say this is a good representation of the current trend. Right? That's a good representation of the current trend. Yeah, it's an uptrend. Is it an astoundingly steep uptrend like this? No, it's not. It's a good, solid uptrend. What's the score I have? 1.75. Yeah, 175. That seems fine. Could you score it 1.5? Could someone be like, Scott, I think it's a little stronger than that. I think it's a 2. Sure. Yeah. I don't think there'd be any strong arguments in that bullish range. If someone's like, I'm a 2.5. Remember, the 3 is the highest. Is this as strong as it gets? Oh, I could go back and find 15 different times where we had stronger short-term trends in this. So no, of course it can't be that. Okay, so where are you, everybody? I don't have it up yet, but I will next week. Next week, I will have a Sunday poll where at the end of our posture, everybody will get to submit their final posture score. We're not going to do a per component basis. That would just be a lot of work for me. But I will do a composite for the group where everybody submits their score. I average it and I say, here's this week's group score. Okay. It's quiet in the chat today. What's going on, everybody? Get your coffee. It's quiet in the chat. Let me just take a quick peek at Discord. Okay, we have 2 over here. Dr. Max 7, welcome. If you hadn't heard, I'm just sort of continuing to paste this in here. We are making a group migration to Circle over we started last week. It's happening over the next couple of weeks. You're welcome to go anytime. I just posted the link. You just click on that, boom, register, pop in. There's a lot more people over on the other side now. But at your leisure, come on over. Okay. Just listening, Miguel says. Got it. Okay, so let's score it. I'm leaving my score the same. Now here's where it gets interesting, is volume. In volume, you're all gonna have to give me your score. No more waiting. You're gonna have to give me your score for volume. Let's talk about it. So we had 2 new volume days. This was not a new one. Average volume, 42.2. That volume was 43 million. That was only 750,000 shares. That's not enough. We need at least 5%, which is about 2.1 million, right? So if we are at 43, we need at least 45. We didn't have it. Here, average is 43. We need at least 45. What do we have? 47. Who won the day? So this is the first thing. First thing is, do we have a qualifying volume day, which is an above average day? Those are the ones that we score. Those are the ones that we say, who won this day? That's important to us. Okay? Who won this day? Nobody. It was a perfect doji. Now, perfect doji doesn't mean nobody won the day. It was a perfect doji that finished literally right at the previous day's close. We closed here. The next day, the buyers went up. The sellers went down. And then it finished right in the middle. So who won? Nobody. So we're going to, let's just take this. And we'll put one here. And we'll duplicate that and put it here. We need to make it even bigger. Look at that volume day. Goodness gracious. And the first one we're going to say was a tie. T for tie. Nobody won that day. Who won yesterday? Well, that's pretty clear. That is not hard for us to ascertain. That the sellers clearly won the day. Do we have any glimmers of hope? Yeah, sure we do. Sure we do. There, whoops, that's too much. Too much. There is your glimmer of hope. We didn't close at the low. Okay. Was it a sell day? Absolutely. Big selling day. We closed here. We opened here. We closed here. Lots of selling. Okay, great. What does that mean? We've got one seller, two seller, three sellers. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 buyers. And two ties. Now remember, if it was 3-3-2, tie goes to the sellers. 3-3-2. Whoops. If that was my score, let's just orient ourselves around this. That equals a 0.25. Tie goes to the buyers. It's just an inherent structure around volume coming with a higher level. That's part of this analysis. Although I guess that's your analysis now, right? If you're like, you know what, Scott, I'm not going to give the tie to the buyers. Okay, fair enough. It's your analysis. But the way that I do it and have taught it is tie goes. So if this is a tie, then the question is that enough to be a slightly higher? So my question is this a 0.25 or a 0.5? Why is that important, right? Which one are we at? It's at least a 0.25 because below it is a little worse, and that's a 0.25. What we're asking is that one extra day enough? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say a 3-4-2 and a 3-3-2 are so close. I'm not going to be able to give it that. I'm only giving it this. And that's important because that's a drop for me. That's a drop. Okay? I was a 0.5 last week, and I'm going to move it back to a 0.25. Now, here's the deal. Last week was a huge jump because we had 3 straight volume days the prior week. Bam, bam, bam. That was enough to take us from a minus 0.25 to a 0.5. Big jump. But it didn't hold on. It doesn't need to hold on. Remember, it just needs to start it up. It breaks it out. That's all it needs to do as long as the trend can sustain. This is not worrisome to me that this drops. Especially when the last trading day was a big selling day, Press says, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, right? And I think this is why it's important for us to be able to see the implications of these things, to be like, look, we knew it was going to do this. That's not problematic. I'm open to, if there's something problematic, I want to see it. I want to understand it. I want to adjust to it. This is not it. Definitely a drop, but not problematic. Okay. So that's the first half of our analysis where we just look at the S&P 500. What is it doing? I ended up at a 3.25. Give me your thoughts. Let me know. Let me pop over real quickly to Discord. Okay, makes sense. Now, real quickly, before I do move on, 0.25 versus a 0.5. Let's do a sanity check. That's the starting point. That's the ending point. Very, very, very slight uptrend. Does a 0.25 make sense here? It does. A 0.5 doesn't really make sense here. Up here it would if we held that. We didn't hold that. I think the sanity check holds true. Okay, we're going to need to take this back 6 months. Let's get out of here. Let's get into major market. Did I miss the option play? Yes. I don't care. And okay. What's going on? NASDAQ on top. Russell right there with it. NASDAQ right there with it. Very bullish. Dow is in a lagging position. Everything is in an uptrend. This is a classic bullish major market presentation. Classic bullish representation of major market orientation with the NASDAQ and the Russell, technology and small caps leading, showing the market's appetite for risk overall. The Dow is uptrending, but not nearly as much because it's just, they're nice and steady. Steven says, I saw volume as 0, no gain for the month and a tie. Okay. I mean, if that's how you do your analysis, remember that the sanity check for me is the last thing. I try to only assess volume. Only volume. The sanity check is kind of a, hey, let's just make sure this thing makes sense. Yeah? And so for me, a tie, I always give to the buyers. Always. Because they tied, when the buyers tie the sellers, that's actually representative of them doing more. I know it's hard to sometimes wrap our minds around that. So, okay. Let's go to the next time frame. 133. What's happening on the 133? More of the same. It's the same representation. When we start in May and we get here, who's on top? Still the NASDAQ. The Russell a little farther down below the S&P, but basically it's in that third spot. You'll notice the volatility still. The Russell was up 18 and now it's only up 12. The Dow was up 12.5 and now it's up 10. So it's had a little pullback and the Russell's like, there's a lot of volatility there still. Does it have more potential for gains? Yes. Are you going to go for a bumpier ride? You better expect that. Absolutely. Okay, but it still shows the same bullish. That we're not worried about volatility or not. We're worried about, is it in order of still showing appetite for risk that is bullish in its orientation? Answer, yes. Let's go down to 66 days. More of the same, right? The Russell, even though it gave back quite a bit, has held on. On this time frame, the technology is a little below the Dow because of the pullback, but this is just sort of like coming out of this breakout. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, because the Dow is 0.5% higher here. It still shows the same to me. Whatever we see from the Dow there is a bullish a bullish representation, not all of a sudden we see defensiveness there. When we look at the 22, more of the same. Who's on top? NASDAQ, second. Russell, third. S&P, last. Dow. All 4 time frames. There's one just little is that going to make me change my score from a 1 to a 0.75? No, I'm not. I'm going to maintain a 1. It is basically textbook major market representation, so I'm going to leave it there at a 1. Let me know if you've changed yours, if you're not there, and then let's go look at sectors. Okay, sectors should be interesting. I heard a comment on Discord. Let me just take a quick peek. Oh, lost your screen. Okay, that's what you said. Let me go back. I don't know why it does that sometimes now. I think it's like that they compete. I think it's that like Discord and Circle maybe compete. Anyways. And I'm just going to keep posting this. Welcome, Bob Roland. Coming in on the Discord side. Don't forget that we're migrating to Circle. There's the link at your leisure this week. And then it's no longer at your leisure. I'm going to be pushing people there. Okay. Thanks for notifying me, Bob. Let me know if that loses again. No questions on the Circle side. Awesome. Okay. Let's talk sectors, let's talk VIX, and let's go through the watch list. What am I thinking here? I'm thinking exactly what I thought. It still looks very bullish. And upon this pullback stabilizing and starting to bounce, I think we will find bullish trades across 5 different growth sectors. But let's just keep going and see if I'm right. Okay, let's go to sector rotation. Now remember, anyone who's new, everything I'm showing you, there is a link for. If you're like, how do I do that major market analysis? Go to the links, left-hand side, scroll down, links. Everything, major market analysis, sector rotation, the Fed watch, economic calendar, everything that you see us, there's a link for it. If you see me use a doc, there's a doc that you can download. It's right there in the downloads. Everything in Circle is so much easier for you to find. So make sure you get in there, maximize your use of those. Okay, so we still have this funky utilities at the top. We talked about that along the way here, and looking at the possibility of utilities having more of a growth. We saw something similar after Obamacare back in like 2009. It was like, I swear it was maybe like 2012 and 13. Healthcare was the leading sector in a bull market. That's just not something you see. But why did that happen? Because there was a shift in the paradigm of the healthcare sector after Obamacare came out. Now, what do we have going on? We have huge growth industries that are heavy users of electricity. We have crypto, which is whatever sluggishness it has shown, it sees this administration as very beneficial. And it's going to expand rapidly again, right? There's going to be more growth in the crypto market. That's one thing. Second thing is AI. There are, for the big ones, you've got ChatGPT. You've got Gemini from Google. You've got Copilot from Microsoft. You got Claude. You've got like 4 or 5 of these big major, each one trying to do the same thing, each one requiring just vast amounts of server capacity. It's processing and right storing, and I mean and so these things require lots of energy, lots of electricity. So the possibility of that occurring is on our radar. Let's just make sure we put that out there. Other than that, when you look here, what do we have? Financials, industrials, discretionary, communication services, technology. Okay, those are our big 5 right there. Utilities at the top, energy kind of packaging it down at the bottom. Whoops, there's 2 days. That's an interesting perspective. Let's go back to 133. Now, let's go back here. What do we see? Discretionary at the top, financials at the top, communication services at the top. There's the market. Who's with it? Oh, there's technology and there's industrials. Who's the only other sector near? Utilities. 5 growth, 1 quasi growth? Question mark? Okay. But what do we see? We see bullish. Who's down here going sideways? Staples, healthcare, materials, energy, right? This is very much a bullish orientation. What do we have? Discretionary, financials. Where's the momentum? Where's the money? Where are sectors putting their money? Are they putting their money into defensive things like, oh, what are we going to do? Or are they thinking, let's get our money into things that are getting ready to go? Growth, industrials. There's the market. Who's here? A little bit of utilities. Now, we know technology got shook the hardest in this last correction back in September. And so it's still coming up out of that. Apple, Microsoft are still kind of like lackluster. Chips look fine. That's fine. In fact, I think that, the fact that we are going this strong with technology kind of somewhat in a lagging, not a leading position, it goes to show even more strength overall to the entire thing. So what do I see here? I got to tell you, everything about this looks good. I'm moving mine to a 1. Give me your thoughts. Did anybody else do this? I see a 1. Right? Even after that. Now, here's what's interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen it happen like this, and we'll see what happens, right? Maybe it's wrong. I think the posture could actually go up a quarter of a tick, even though the market pulled back. What does that mean? Well, it means that our process is not built to we certainly look at the short term. That's part of it. But we're trying to look at the underlying. And so what we're saying is that the underlying has continued to strengthen even as we've had this pullback. Okay, great. So let's go finish this. Finish him. Let's go to the VIX. If you're new, please ask questions. You're probably like, oh man, some of these people have been here for a while. None of us know what we're doing. We're all just trying to figure it out. So ask the question because I bet other people have the same question. The VIX. Yeah. I'm gonna score a lower low from this. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So this is where we were last time. And you'll notice we didn't do anything last time because all it did was drop to the same low. Same low. We don't give credit for the same low. Oh, you did just as good as last time. Let me give you points. Nope. This is a meritocracy. You must earn your points here. There's no participation points. But what happened? The VIX pushed down. Here we are. Now it's starting to turn back up. And that means I'm going to score this as a lower low. Now, as it comes up, what am I looking for? A potential lower high. Yeah, this is the last high. We had this enormous drop. Anything through here is a very bullish lower high, especially if it comes underneath that 50 right there. So this week, definitely, I'm looking to see, does it just do something like this and roll over, and then on Wednesday, we're going this way? Only 4 of 5 sectors scored. I don't know, Steven. On yours, you're saying. I saw all 5 on all 3 time frames. I'm not sure what you saw. Remember, you got to build it with all 3 time frames, and then you're kind of looking at that. So, but yeah, okay. 0.75. Fair. It's close. We'll see where you end up. You might not be seeing a better score based on what you saw with your volume, but you should still be close. All right. Let me go put this in. Lower low gets it a quarter of a point, 1.25. If we get a lower high this week, I'll give that another quarter of a point. If it gets another lower low, another quarter of a point. That's what it would take to get. After that, you're down near 12. That's as good as it gets. It would sit around at 1.75. It doesn't keep getting better because when it gets to 12, that's it. You're there. We're bullish. The VIX is low. Institutions feel good. Giddy up. I'm a 6.5. Put your score out there. Let me see where everybody's at. Informal. No formal poll. No formal poll. Let me go check Discord. Okay. Hey, Bob. Bob Roland, it's only you and other Bob. We got both Bobs in Discord. Everybody else is over in Circle. We got a big crew over there. How many people are in Discord or in Circle? 15. Amazing. Love it. That's a big group, you guys. We got anyone new that I didn't recognize? Howard, welcome. Did I see any other names that I don't know? Have I said hello before, Howard? I maybe have, and I didn't recognize that I did, but welcome. Good to have you. Hope you're enjoying it. Ask questions as they come. Grayland says 6.5. Press is 6.25. Nick is 6.25. Miguel is 6.25. Greg is 6.25. Sandy 6.5. Move to Circle. Okay. So you were on the other side. Got it. I'm glad it was easy. I hope you like the new environment. Go check out all the courses. They all our education is much easier to get to now. I think we're all in a pretty good place. 6.25. Okay. PJ's a 6.25. I mean, and look, if we're arguing, Steven's 5.5. Steven, I swear you were like a point higher than me not long ago, and now you're at a 5.5. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll tell you this. You never know who's gonna get it right sometimes. So let's all be open. 6.5, 6.25 is, I would say the average is closer to 6.25. But we're bullish. How bad was last Friday? Not that bad. Or last week altogether. In fact, our basic philosophy is find a bull market and buy the dips. That's it. You do that your entire trading career. Just find a bull market, buy the dips. And then if it stops being a bull market, you stop buying the dips. You just wait. And then go find a different bull market and buy the dips. Every time you go find a bull market and every time it's dipping, you're buying you're going to be fine. You're going to be a good trader. It's a good, solid philosophy. We obviously want to get much more detailed than that. And so here we are. What does this tell me? It tells me I'm going to take more trades, take more risk. I'm going to stay in longer. I'm not going to take losses easily, right? It tells me that if I have what was the last trade alert that was put on? The last trade alert put on was a calendar spread, and it's down here now. Is that bad? Well, I'm bullish. If I'm bullish, I think it's going to do what? I think it's going to bounce back up. So if it sits down here for a little while and then eventually bounces back up into this range, great. When it gets up into this range, if it's in December, I'm going to make a few $100. If it takes even longer than that, the longer it takes, if it just sits for a little while, then bounces and then sits for a little while, great. So these calendar spreads allow me to get time decay and get me some neutral trade action while I'm looking to really pounce on directionals, because there's still going to be sideways action. There's still going to be times where we're like waiting. It's not like it's just like, okay, let's just get ready to start, grabbing piles of money. It's better trading for sure, but we still have to do our part. To score instead of your scoring is strong for sure. No. Absolutely strong. These conversations that we have, these we have to have. If everyone sees it the same, I feel like we're in trouble. Right? Like, I want us to have someone be like, no, I think it's better than that. No, I think it's this. That's how we make sure that we're not the frog in the pot of water at any given time. Because we talked about it. We said, are we sure? Someone said, it might be getting hot in here. We're all like, oh, is it? Let's all think about it and talk about it and see if we think it is. Okay. A bit cautious with the drop. Oh, hold on. Now I am going to challenge what you're saying, because now you see bias coming out. You said the big drop. What makes it big? What makes it big? Let's assess big, because we speak in terms of things like flags, consolidations, corrections that are measurable, right? It's measurable. So if I was at 600 and now I'm at 586, 585.75. So if I was at, and this is important, I'm glad you brought that up. 600 minus 586, 14 points back into 600, 2.3%. 2.3. What would we call that? That's a pullback. That's a dip. That's not a consolidate. I mean, we talk about consolidations being, 4 to 7%. We talk about a correction being 10%. That's big. 2.3 over 5 days with only one above average volume day. Now, if it gets worse on Monday, then we'll have a different conversation, because as we move from today's market posture to Monday, we then move into trading posture. And we say, is this holding up or is it getting worse? If it gets worse, then we're going to dial back and be like, hold on, it's got to stabilize, right? That all hinges on us. It's only a dip if it stabilizes, finds support, and starts to bounce. That's, of course, right? But that's only 2.3%. It's not that bad. I look at that. If you didn't know anything and I just put this chart up, I think you'd all be like, oh, that looks like something I want to trade. Right? Looks like something I want to trade. For context, this dip was bigger. From here to here, 1, 2, 3, 4 days was bigger, and then it came out of it strong. Does it look like a head and shoulders pattern? It does, except it doesn't have a right shoulder. Right? We would have a very different perspective. Shoulder, head. Whoop. Now, this would have to typically gonna come down back to make a neckline. Then it would have to fail to get back up Oh, we would have such a different conversation if we failed to materialize something along those lines, right? That's the kind of conversation we had back here when it failed to get back up, and we're like, what's going on? We don't love that. Great. You see what I mean? When we get that conversation where we're like, what about this? What about, let's talk about it. Is this? Yeah. So I'm as of now, this still feels just dip and beautiful to me. We'll see. Let's get to the watch list. Great conversation. I'm going to end up taking, we're on record keeping and analytics. Don't forget that. We have a great spreadsheet. All you got to do is fill it out and it'll start to produce record keeping for you. I say that because we're going to get to the watch list now. It might take some time. Let's go find some trades for this week, shall we? Apple. Feels a bit iffy. I'm not feeling Apple yet right now. I'm still going to have Aflac on my list. Financials is going to be chock full of some good things. Amazon's on my list from consumer discretionary. APO, yes. AppLovin, technology, yes. Look at the strength. Bam. Just waiting for this to pull. Give us a little more. I thought we'd get a little more. We'll see. AXP, yes. Buyers are in control. Now the buyers have taken a break. So overall, buyers are in control. Buyers have taken a break. What have the sellers done? Hardly done anything, right? Bank of America. I mean, I have it on my list, but that thing was breaking out again. It's not really a trade. BK is something I'm thinking about. BX is something I want to think about. Look at that. We've got financials are chock full. Caterpillar. If it holds the 50, I'd still think about it. Right? I would still think about it if it holds the 50. It had a huge breakout. Now it's pulling back. If this holds and turns, I still think, yeah, let's give it a shot. I wouldn't even need the trade, but I would think, hey, if I can get it back up to here, that's a nice little position. CMG in consumer discretionary, I'm going to say yes. Coherent technology, it's got to hold the 50 as well, but I would say that's setting up still. Where are we putting Cisco? Is that telecommunications or is that technology? I'm going to go look at what Thinkorswim says. Thinkorswim says it is information technology. Is IT considered communication services? I kind of feel like it is, right? Either way, I like it. I'm going to put it in technology, actually. Cisco. Is anyone helping me on that one? Oh, you were in Circle, Bob, and it didn't let you in or something? Sorry, I just noticed your comment. Tech hardware. Okay. Tech. Oh, Steven says Press says hardware. Yeah, a lot of those can go either way, right? Either way, I like it. Higher high, higher low, pulling back, trade setting up, coming out of earnings strong. Love it. It looks bueno. The Dow looks good. Fastenal. Oh, Fastenal even better than Caterpillar. Fastenal is going to do us another trade. I can feel it coming. Fizz, no. In fact, I'm getting rid of it. I don't like the way that one has behaved outside of the market. So that one's gone. Bitcoin. I told you. Look at Bitcoin. This is by far the highest it's ever been. Strong, strong. GE Vernova. Looks good. I want you to notice how many strong. These are big stocks that we're looking at. These aren't like one-offs. This is Apple, Amazon, Bank of America, Blackstone, Caterpillar, Cisco, Fastenal, right? Our watch list is full of leaders. What do we see leaders doing? They're leading up. Materials not looking good. Gold continues to sell off. Google. I like Google. Put it on the list. Goldman. That's a yes. Good list. Home Depot. That's a yes. Consumer. Robinhood. That's a yes. Got a lot of different places we could go. Okay, IBM. Come on. I keep making excuses for you. You're out. Small caps. Maybe. JCI. That is industrials. That's a yes. KKR. That's a yes. You know I want another trade on KKR. That would be 3. Always like when we can get 3 in a row. MasterCard is a yes. These are all tradable this week. These aren't like, hey, these are good. They look good. Look at them. Higher highs. Look at your stochastics. Look at your pullbacks. Everything is setting up. Milwaukee. McDonald's, no. I think I'm going to bounce McDonald's. The onion fiasco is too much. Meta, no. Not sure what happened. Meta really couldn't hold. Morgan Stanley, it's overextended. I'm not going to put it on the list for buyables because it's just, we got too many good ones. Microsoft, no. MicroStrategy, I'll put that one up on the list. MSTR. NDAQ looks strong in financials. NASDAQ, NDAQ. Netflix, strong. Communication services. NVIDIA, yes. Technology. Remember, NVIDIA is migrating into the Dow, and there will be lots of companies acquiring it, but it also has earnings, so it's kind of in a funky place. Be careful there. PLTR, I love. I thought it was going to give us a potential, and then it just smashed. Like, I don't know what to do. We just have to wait. PayPal. PayPal is, I mean, yeah, it's technology, or I mean, it's financials, but it kind of sits in the communication services space, to be fair. QQQ, bullish. Southern, no. SoFi, yes. Yeah, so we are chock full of good stocks for financials, that's for sure. Tesla, that's a yes for our consumer discretionary. TSM, no. It's just not holding up. NVIDIA's better. TTD, I don't like the volatility. I'm not going with that one. UUP. This is where we have to be mindful, is that the extreme strength of the dollar is definitely gonna be a wet blanket on the market eventually. Maybe not initially, as we are still processing post-election enthusiasm, but overall, yeah, we need to be mindful of the fact that this type of a strong dollar is definitely going to be weighing on the market overall. The VIX looks poised to move into that lower echelon, which is where we want it, where it lives between 12 and 16, and then it pops up to 18 or 20. If that's the VIX we have, we'll all be very happy with that. Walmart, put it on the list. I'm putting it with consumer discretionary, even though it's technically not, but we had a great trade on that one. We made 90% of max gain on a bull call spread. I believe it was close to 150, 160% overall. I want the next trade. You know that every time I make one, I want another one in the same place. So definitely going to be looking for another one there. I could see a 4-trade week this week. Our posture is more bullish than it's been in a long time. Lots of good, strong stocks on the watch list. Lots of good, strong stocks setting up to buyable opportunities. Tell me if you think I'm not seeing something that I should be seeing something. Let's real quickly hit the XLs, and then we'll call it a day. XLB, materials are down. Communication services looks great. Energy up. There's a new Walmart coming by my house. Like, I'm excited. I'll be able to ride my bike over there. Grab some supplies and ride back. Financials look good. Industrials look good. I'll go back. Graylin, good to see you. Have a great week. Industrials look strong. Technology looks still strong. Staples, not so much. Utilities, not so much. Healthcare, not so much. Consumer, yes. Okay, let's go back and look at that. Let's go back and look at that one more time. Here's that calendar. I'm down here right now, and I'm okay with that. Where am I? Down here right now. Yeah. Why am I okay with that? Because I'm bullish. Because I'm bullish, and right now I think market's going to bounce. Now, if it were to drop a little bit more, I'm not going to capitulate. I'm going to throw like you can see I actually have a butterfly that I might put. So I could throw a butterfly next to this, right? And then I just have to wait. I just have to wait for time to catch up and get over top. If I put that trade on, I would still have. Now, like I said, I have to wait until well into December, but I would be okay from 576 to 608. 576 to 608. Where does that put me? $576 is down here. As long as it doesn't break the 50. 608 is up here. Do I think it could stay in that range through the end of through mid-December? Yeah. So I still feel fine with where it is. We know that it's going to pull back. As long as it doesn't pull back to too much outside of the range of that, that's exactly what we would be anticipating, and now we just kind of sit on it. We'll talk about it tomorrow, though, when we get the market open. Those of you who are in Circle, Bob, please show the posture again. Yep. One more time, Bob. Bob, let's connect tomorrow. When we have, I'm going to try to get you with an admin who is kind of the specialist walking through. So that's not it. That's the market posture. That's the log. Sorry. There it is. So tomorrow, if you can make it to the morning session, let's connect. If you don't make it, just reach out and send me a message, because I'll keep an eye on Discord, and we'll get it taken care of for you next week. Bob Rowland, did you pop over to Circle? Let me go look and see. Or maybe he just had to go. Bob Rowland did come over. All right. Well, any other questions? It's good to see everybody. It's good to see a market posture in the sixes. If you go to our historical archives, you can go back and see the last time we had a market posture in the sixes. You can see when it got there, how long it lasted, and what that.
This is a reminder.
Water the bonsai. Sorry. I got to set that reminder more than 5 minutes after, because it always pings me, but I got to water my bonsai trees. Yeah. Okay. So, go look at it and see, and you'll be like, yeah, six is a market that sits around 6 or 7 and might be there for 4 months, 5 months before it gets to something that's corrective. Ooh, we would all be very happy with that. That would help with Christmas. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And let me show you real quickly here. Miguel, take a quick screenshot there because I also have a second calendar down at that 580 that would do a very similar kind of a thing. So it's a 570, 580, 590 butterfly. That's in December, all three of those. Or there is a second, exact same dates, just move this down to 580. It looks like this. You can see it's a very similar kind of a construct. The problem with a second calendar is it really inflates your Vega, right? Look at that Vega, 300. Whereas if you do the butterfly, it keeps that Vega under control. We'll keep talking about both of those. But if you just wanted to play with them, that's what I'm kind of like, if I were to extend this, what would I do? Anyways, amazing. What a great conversation today. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll see you in the morning. As always, happy trading.